Hello, everyone. This is Dan Lutz, and I believe Tank is on the line as well.
Good evening.
How is it going, Tank?
Pretty good. Yeah, I can't complain. Things are coming together, I think.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to another. This is the 99th episode in a row of Dan plus Tank Live, and we're keeping it up. We've got the GCR on the run. It seems like they're collapsing. The people out there are jumping ship. I've heard some other people that have been telling me that. Yesterday it was 2 people. So you'll see. See what happens as more people start, running away. It's a good sign.
So, what was the GCR supposed to happen again this weekend?
Well, obviously, but
sorry, that was dumb. I'm sorry, it already happened 2 weeks ago. Martha said so it's fine.
Well, I think that just both of them came out of different angles, and they should just not believing it anymore, and that's that's what we're looking for is more people to kind of just stop participating in the genocidal nature of the GCR.
Yeah. So what I got some reports on Dave Janda's last update, and
okay.
And I thought it was kind of important actually, because those NASA guys were talking about the parallel platform is running.
Yes.
So what do you think about that, man? I feel like you always have better insight. I didn't actually get a chance to watch it. I just got that report before the call.
Yeah, the parallel platform, has no oversight, and that's the point. It's building a system to do something that they're already doing. So NSA was spying on everyone, but you had to have if you needed to look at someone and look at their data. You had to go through a process and report it and all this. So the parallel platform, there was none of these restrictions. So the system, the Hammer, HAMR, was developed for international reasons, just to look at around the world at people. But it was Obama, Clapper, and Brennan that basically repurposed it for looking at Americans 4 years before the previous elections. That's 6 years ago. So that means they were looking at millions and millions of Americans to get their data.
Yep.
Now they would have that data to continue to get people to do things for them. The cabal control. What I covered on Frontlines episode today was about the Illuminati and how they were formed and their systems of control. How did they do that? Right? How do they infiltrate? How do they do this? And it's this particular video was by anonymous official, and it was about 15 minutes. So what through the whole thing. And just pointed out a few things along the way, but one of the things was their fourth major plank was to control all media, and at that time it meant newspapers, right, radio, movies, and so Hollywood was completely run by these banking cartels. Money being obviously the main force. I was kind of drawing the connections between like the Pacers, that were behind a lot of the other things that were going on, with the Rothschilds, and also the Rockefellers.
Right.
And even even the Morgans. They were, had really minority shares in their own companies. It was the Rothschilds that controlled them, but the money came from actually the Pacers originally. And anyway, this system of control, so they're just looking at the next level. How do they use the internet to get control of your minds? Right? Because that's what the idea of controlling the media is all about, controlling the minds.
Yeah, I love this because a lot of us grew up this way, like where we just kind of watched television or watch, and then that's grown to watching the internet and watching YouTube and everything else, right? And so much of that is just kind of just background. It's just the tapping into our subconscious mind literally programming, right? And it's like I was watching this doctor talk about this. He said now 95% of everything that you are um, is just your unconscious mind, right? So even if you're consciously thinking one thing, 95% of who you are is this unconscious or subconscious thought, right? So that programming is very important. So what
Right.
we spend our time thinking about when we sleep and and we're so vegged out, all those things that veg out just it has to be really accountable, to program us the right way, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about this and really, but yeah, the unconscious mind has a very significant role in also the reality generation. So if they're controlling that, they're controlling reality. I want to point out something that's about controlling reality. There's a series that I watched, A Designated Survivor, right? And they had the third season come out on Netflix. So over the last 3 days or so, I binge watched the 10 episodes.
Okay.
So, but the things that they put in there were, this is about a president who was put into place because he was a designated survivor. Congress got destroyed by a bomb, and the whole system, the whole system collapsed. But this was the guy they had off campus. He was the HUD secretary, and he became the president. Now,
Right.
there was a master plan behind that. It was really, one of the I think it was one of the representatives that were, miraculously survived this event, and he came out as a hero because he survived, right? And then he became the vice president, and then their plan was to, kill the president, and then now this guy would now be in control, the vice president, right? So that was their ultimate plan. But that's first season. So this third season, what I found was interesting is they killed off his wife at the end of last season. So the first lady was killed off. And out of nowhere, this one comes his transgender brother, now sister, or of the first lady, who now is now taking up residence inside the White House, right? And is now a very attractive transgender, looks very like a beautiful woman, and is now taking the place of the mother. So now you have, a transgender, White House. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've heard that story before. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just trying to normalize this, and they also in this had the one of the Secret Service men that was gay, and a black gay man, as well as a one of the media people who was a black gay man, and they were literally showing anal intercourse.
What?
Yeah, I mean they were showing not the graphicness of it, but the position of it, on the show. I'm going, I think they really are over the top showing these things, especially kids could be watching this kind of stuff. Kids shouldn't be seeing any sort of sexualization, right? I was brought up, you talk about this stuff around children. You have to literally be an adult. You kind of start discovering things when you get into high school, and it's still a secret, right?
Right.
And but this is just over the top. The other point is that the one of the submissive black gay guy had AIDS, and didn't tell the guy that he was hooking up with. Now that guy got upset about it, and he said, "Well, I'm not. I'm taking my medication, and I'm not. And I have no signs of it, and it's all okay." And the guy was still upset. But after they went through that, they got back together at the end because the guy was upset. He didn't even give him the choice, to say this. He kind of sprung him on. Oh, by the way, I got AIDS. No, don't worry. You're not going to catch it. But anyway, this was now saying it's okay to have AIDS and carry this disease, and that even with medication, you'll be okay. You don't have to worry anymore because you can cover this, and you're not even showing. You can't pass it on to someone if you're not showing. So again, a mind control, right? To again, have more acceptance of this. So, and ultimately, it is to remove sex altogether out of the equation. That neither side is going to be looking to have sex. The males or the females will not be together. The male and male will be together, and the female and female won't be together. The end goal is androgyny and no say over children, and they'll all be cloned or put into taken away from the parents and raised by the state. It's to completely, destroy the family. Ultimate end goal. So supporting any of this is a tragedy. It's but this is the mind control. This is part of Project Mockingbird. It's how do you combat this? Don't you just completely stop watching all of the movies and entertainment that comes your way? And that may be the only real solution, is just stop.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't even turn the television on anymore, and I don't feel like I miss anything. I can't seem to, I still get on Twitter because I just feel like Twitter, you can pretty much get all the, updates on news, depending on who you're following, so quickly. But it's amazing. It's amazing how much that we're just set up to, all types of, crazy behavior. I when I was in college, I bartended my way through college, and there was this server, and he was, he was very openly gay, right? And he was actually a porn star, right? And he was a porn star, and like his role was like the neighbor next door, right? And he looked almost like a kid. He was like 28 at the time, right? But he looked like he was so small and so slight that he looked like a really young guy. And so he got diagnosed, with HIV, and he was flying out to California to shoot a porno, right? And we're like, what are you gonna do? How do you tell him? He's like, oh, I'm not gonna tell him. So imagine like he's going to like shoot, like it was just a normal thing, and there was a time there where like that was like considered to be like a crime, which I kind of feel like it probably still should be, right? I mean, if you have a transmutable disease and you go and participate in something like that, but
yeah, I get it. Yeah, I would say it should be illegal to have a disease that is communicable. And, whether or not you're taking medication or not, you should at least inform your partner.
yeah,
Allow that to be a choice.
Yeah, I would think so. I think most people probably try to err on the side of caution with that. So I don't know. I mean, but it's amazing. The programming is non-stop, right? So we have to change the program. Like you have to change the way we look at things, and what we value is being important. So
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
what
yeah, go ahead.
what do you think about Trump being right again with the Mexican border? Threatens tariffs. He gets attacked by Nancy Pelosi. Like she can't believe he'd have the nerve to, want tariffs, right? And for a minute there, some senator from Mexico was talking about taking over the United States, and now, it's like, nope,
6,000 troops. 6,000 troops on the border in Mexico and
in Guatemala, right?
In Guatemala, yeah. So
like, wow.
That should stem the flow. So
right.
a win for Trump. It's just music. I mean, the only tool he has is tariffs, and he's using it effectively. He's as the Congress is not going to do anything, as the House of Representatives will not lift a finger, do anything. And they hope that they're going to just get rid of everyone.
I know, it's amazing. Like their whole strategy for his whole presidency so far is accuse, do nothing. It seems like there'd be like some sense of like, hey, should we make a law or something? Like should we try to do something that isn't, transvestite related? I mean, anything but like, the only law that's really been passed is like, we're gonna make it legal for you to, have abortions up to 40 weeks, and then kill off the babies. That's the big law. That's the biggest law they passed, right? And now Kamala Harris is pushing. She says when she becomes president, she'll make sure the Reproductive Rights Act is made is controlled by the federal government. That's what we need. One more thing in our life controlled by the federal government. So.
Yeah, it's definitely insanity. Well, we should ask Tui what he thinks about it.
Ah, Tui.
Yeah, he joined us a while back. Hey, Dewey.
Hello, Tank.
Hey, man, good to hear you.
It's good to hear you guys. Yes, first of all, I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for all the shows that's been going on. Thank you, everyone on the show today. Greetings and love from Fiji. Yeah,
thank you.
There's been a lot of preparation that we are doing here. That has been taking a lot of our personal time. We've been moving around the country, trying to get some, just to meet each other, because that's one of the most important things that this change will have to do. We have to recognize each of us, and together we will be able to change the future together by letting everyone know that we have remember who we are, and we're just looking forward to talking with our government leaders at this time, the people in the government, the federal government that's in the capital city, all the chiefs all around the island. We're just trying to set up a meeting so we can talk. And just the past 2 days, the government has came up with the budget, and we know that there's no more money. That the budget is just it's a representative, just represented on the book, and that's all it is. And with nice words and sweet talks and all this, but yeah. So we'll wait until we've reached out to them last week, and we tried to set up a meeting, try to talk with our AG, who is also our economic minister, but he was busy doing the budget. And so yeah, they've cut down the budget from the last year, almost 800 million, and that's a very big amount here in Fiji. 800 million from the current from the initial 2018-2019 budget. And so, yeah, the liquidity crisis is getting. There are more and more people losing their jobs, in the hundreds, in the thousands, in all the different ministries. And we'll just be here waiting for that time to sit with them and talk and get ourselves prepared. I know that this has to be done to the rest of the country in the world, because it's not just happening in Fiji; it's happening all over the world. And as soon as we are prepared, we'll be contacting you then. I mean, Tank and Kim, and we would be looking forward to reorganize ourselves and to help ourselves regenerate, individually, as a family, as tribes, and then as a nation. And we'll want that chance to stand up for our own sovereignty, and we'll be able to try and be responsible this time, and change the values from the external values like money to the internal values like the people, and the fifth element within everyone. And that's the true economy of the world, or of the planet, because that's the source of or what everything else is. And so, yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to. I've been listening to you guys, trying to catch up to the daily shows. Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much, Tank, for the update. I know this is a multi-level change that's happening, and it's not just happening in one side of the planet, but it's all happening in all over the planet. And so we have our own, wherever you may be or wherever you are on the planet, you have your own role to try and claim and reclaim your sovereignty, and don't wait for anyone to give it to you, because it's inside you. You just have to try and remember it. So yeah, for the past how many days, how many weeks that I've been missing, I've been I've been full of joy helping so many people deprogramming, especially since you guys were talking about the subconscious part of the body. That's what I've been reprogramming for the last 200 last few weeks that I've not been talking, and it's taking a lot of time to deprogram everyone, to reconstruct the awareness, and then get them to be free from all the illusions that they've been holding on so tightly in the past, whether it's the indoctrination by the religious community, whether it's the beliefs in the economic and the money and the political system. They are able to finally be free, and to be able to see that they are the source, and they can choose to create anew if they want to change. And thousands of people are coming in, and as you can see, my voice, I've lost it as well. So every week and every day, more and more people, and I know the planet and the galactics can feel it, because there's so many people being able to free themselves, and being able to think freely, and no longer imprisoned by all these all the knowledge and all the indoctrination, and by the systems that has been in place for these past thousands of years.
Well, that's very exciting.
Related, so in 150 other countries have been in this for thousands of years.
You're breaking up.
Take a very
You're breaking.
Yeah. Am I breaking up?
Yes, you're breaking up. So
Oh,
you seem to be okay, but you said something about 150, and then
yeah, 150 years. That's about 150 years ago that we were first influenced by economy, by education, by religion. We've been isolated for all those thousands of years until that time. And, yeah, so 150 years ago, it's not so influenced. So the programming is not so deep in the DNA or the experience of the people individually and as a country. So it's easy for us to get back, to get ourselves free from it. And like I've said in the in the beginning of our of the show in the few days that you started out, Dan, said that in Fiji you won't see any Fijian having big businesses and in towns. It's because of that. We are not so not so deep in the, I call it the commerce or the law of the sea. We value the living things.
Yeah.
We value people. We value the plants and the animals, and we've been living like that for thousands of years until 150 years ago. So I'm very thankful that I'm moving around. I'm talking to people. It's not just me. There's so many people awake there, and they're all doing their part, and we're just coming together, reuniting. And I hope just in the near future that we'll be to the Pacific and to the rest of the world. And so that's what that part of the project is, to be able to get this connection, to be able to talk and meet people physically. And that's how we truly can be sovereign, by re-recognizing that we are all, we are all air, we are all water, we are all land, and we are all fire, and re-recognize it from each other, and help them on whatever level they might need changing, whether it's a physical level or sickness or cancer and all that, or whether it's a spiritual level in the imprisonment of the illusions of the dimension of the body, or and the reprogramming. In the deep programming that has been part of this system for thousands of years. So by meeting and by talking about it physically, it truly it accelerates the deprogramming, and rather than listening to radio or show TV, it's just another illusion again. People get even more lost by doing that. And so reaching out physically is one of the most effective way to physically accelerate it. And within 1 hour, within 2 hours after I talk, they come up to me and they can see, they are thankful that they can see the truth as it truly is, and they can, they have the chance now, and they realize that they have the power to reveal the truth, and to choose, or whatever experience they want to choose. And it's no longer, it's no longer just an automatic program where they just think that they have to do it because they have to do it. Now they know what they're doing, and now they understand. They understand the political system. They understand the economy. They understand the programming in the education system, in the medical industry, and all the religious community. Now they truly understand who they are, and what the spirit within them represents. And they're fortunate. I tell them, I'm just glad that we met and we've talked, and they're able to sit down and listen and discuss with me, because there's so many people that it's hard, because people, it depends on their free will to be able to come down and sit down, and there are so many educated people that are coming in, and it just shows that the spiritual part of the planet is ready for this change. It's just, yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
Have you met any of the? You were going to meet the general, and I last spoke with you, the head general of the military. Did you end up meeting with him?
Yeah, we've already met the military, and they are aware of what is happening. But since the military is connected to the government, to the PM, and deeply connected to it, we're waiting for that time, because they've come up, they've understood the agency, that there's no more money in the banks, and they're trying to reach every part of the government to get money so they can use it to help the government to pay for the public servants and all that. But yeah, they're drying up, because all those money, they've just been spending it just within a few days and it's gone. The last deficit, or the last budget that we lacked about 1.6 billion, and that's not easy to get from anywhere. 1.6 billion, and so now they've cut off about almost $1 billion from the new budget. And this agency, the military, fully understands it, because they're also not getting paid. They have hours getting cut, like they're just working 2 to 3 hours a day, and they're returning to their homes because there's no money from the government. There's no money for operations. There's no money for the exercises that they do every day. And and
Well,
yeah,
they probably have to return home to eat. If they have no
yeah,
money, they can't eat outside. They have to go home and eat.
yeah.
So,
The
Tui,
sorry, go ahead.
what is the perception of the government right now? Like, what do they think is happening? Because it's fascinating because, the Bilderbergs at the Bilderberg meeting right now, these are the guys that are essentially controlling the world. And, the banks, they keep waffling back and forth, right? They call Kim when the GCR isn't happening. And they want to negotiate. But what they want to negotiate is they want to negotiate that 50% of the money goes to them, which is already off the table because every time she gives them money, they take it and they try to filter it off to the dragon families, right?
Yes, yes.
So that negotiation's over. So, but the governments could deal directly with Kim. I mean, they could deal directly with her. They could just go into their system and see, oh, this is the person we're supposed to deal with, and they realize all of the previous trustees are nothing. Are nothing. It makes me wonder if the governments themselves actually took legal action um, against these guys for causing these problems. Wouldn't that force them to acknowledge that there's a it seems like it would force them to acknowledge that that Kim is the head of the thing because they don't have the money, and they're starving the people out. I mean, literally starving people out.
Tui's muted.
Tui, unmute. Well, okay.
Well, all right. So, well, yeah, this, uh, there are definitely some things that are rolling around where you can see that here in the Philippines. I've been talking with some people about that, about the money situation. I'm trying to get a handle on what exactly is the situation with the central bank here, because the reports were, I haven't been able to get real confirmation of this, that uh, that the Philippines government took over the central bank here. Now, but what is they're I know that we start talking about the high end finance of side of things, and then they say it's too tight. They don't want to. You can't bring money into the country. And so, well, why not?
Well, that's the. I mean, if they were just would have an honest moment about it, right? The Bilderbergers were, basically talking about like, they've told the banks and they've told the governments and they've told the governments they're not giving Kim any money and they're not giving the people any money, right? So that's their intention. So everybody who wants to sign up for that plan, raise your hand, right? Like who wants to be part of that where they get all the money, we get nothing? Does that make sense to anybody? So it's like, so I
Well,
think,
that's been their plan.
oh,
That's
right,
their
right.
playbook, right from the beginning. They just take from us. That's all. Use
What
us
I
to
don't
do it.
what I don't understand though is what government, what human, what grown man, what grown woman would allow that to be like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, like who's supporting that? In the gutless cowardice of so-called leadership out there, who's like, yeah, well, of course, you guys can do that. That's fine, right? I mean, the reality is, it's like they should just issue a very official memo of some sort directly from every president in the world, and have everyone sign off on it. And it should basically have like two words. It should say, "Hey, screw off," like because you guys, that plan doesn't work for everybody else. It just works for like the you know whatever the half a million people that think that they are better than everyone else. So I mean, nothing about that works. So what I really still and I've heard it explained many times, I still cannot wrap my mind around who are the people that are still think that's going to happen. You know, like what are the governments doing? Like, Kim brought this up that with the military, it's like, why don't you just go in with the military? They are literally conducting an economic assassination on the entire world, right?
Well,
And
I've been thinking about that one piece, as I think, it makes sense that would be part of the insurrection, invoking the Insurrection Act, recognizing that has happened on U.S. soil, and then giving them permission, literally, to walk into the banks.
oh, and by the way, I got to tell you this. So Kim gave me a little insight on one of the things that one of their plans, right, on that higher level with the the marijuana dispensaries, right?
Oh, okay, very interesting.
So they want the money out of the banks, right? So that's why that's why, and several times, I guess, in Colorado and California, there's been different, they've set up their own credit unions, they've done all these things, and they
Mhm.
always block their money, right? They always, the same thing that happens to us. And Kim was saying that part of the reason why they want to do that is they don't want the liquidity in the banks because they want to take over, right? So
Oh, well, that makes some sense. Yeah.
yeah, um, so the banks, for whatever. Oh, I forgot. This is why, because the banks have been told, all the executives, right, that they're going to get all this billions and trillions, and they're all going to be Quadzilla, and stomp around the world as gods, right? So
Quadzilla.
so yeah, so they all think that that's what's going to happen to them, right? They're gonna have all this money, so they keep, they never honor a negotiation, which to me it seems like a pretty easy plan, right?
Right.
Eliminate those guys, right? Like whoever's making those every board of directors on every bank, every one of you has always had one boss, and that boss is dead, and there's been a new appointed boss, and I would love for you to take her to court and prove her wrong. Go ahead and try, because then you have to acknowledge it's her, because your system is subject, you're slaves to her system. So no matter what you do, it's funny because Kim was saying she's all over it. They're not getting anything by her. They're not squeaking a dime out anywhere because they won't operate according to any law. I mean, they don't abide by any laws. What is the problem? Military, go in, use weapons so that you can, don't hurt anybody unless you have to, but go in and, make sure it's clear, like, we run your bank, and replace everyone, you know. And honestly, because I keep hearing how, well, you don't want to just make all these people unemployed. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I want every one of them to be unemployed. All the retail people,
Well,
they can all stay there. Right?
so
But
let's say before the Insurrection Act gets invoked, right? So what if Kim basically owns the bank, says I'm going to give the bank land that the bank is sitting on to the military as a military base, and have them then be able to sit there in the military base.
of the bank.
Yeah, of the bank. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
in other words, you end up having the military turning over all the banks to the military in this fashion.
Well, it's such a struggle because even now, the Pentagon has money in the bank, and the bank has told them we're not going to let you use it, right? So it's such a hard thing to wrap your mind around. It's like, well, okay, so there's no money, right? So when it goes to the Federal Reserve level, right? Kim's been clearing every transaction. I mean, everything that goes through is being cleared to the trust on that level. But then there's just the retail, the practical application of money in our world. The
Right.
banks still have control of clearing that, right? And it's just so amazing when you think about it. It's like, wow, like you guys hate us, right? Like you really don't want to entertain anything else but what your program says. But
Can we send John Wick in?
I I would love that, actually. I mean, I just feel like, just logically speaking, and yeah. But is Tui back on? I'd say let him talk.
Tui is back on, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Let Tui talk. Tui?
He's here.
Yes.
We lost you. We lost
Glad
you
to
there.
have
Yeah.
you back.
So sorry, the network just keep going up and down. I guess the money is reaching the networks now.
That's it.
Yep.
So, Tui, who have you met with in the government?
I've met with the intelligence, with our military intelligence. I've tried meeting with um, I've met the opposition. Like we have the opposition leaders here. Like we have them in parliament, the opposition and the government.
Okay.
Something similar to what you have in the U.S. Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, so I met the opposition people, and they've because they're the one, they're also part of the government, and they know that there's no money, and I've given them the just the information about the trust, about the Manna World Holding Trust, and about Kim, and about how we can reach directly to her and talk with her about what we can do with Fiji, and they've taken it up. They've tried to what's called this authenticate the information. So they wanted to see if it's really real or it's just and they can be able to take it up to parliament. So all these processes, but because the people are waking up, and that's what we're doing as the people, the native tribe, and we own 95% of the land, and we are aware of the change that is happening. We're already awake.
I missed the last parts there.
He said he's aware that the people are aware and they're already awake.
Yeah, I had to have tell my dog not to express his sovereignty right now.
Here comes the rooster. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a dog now. It's a recent addition to our family here. It's my wife's dog for a while, but he's been staying at her grandmother's. But now he's been here now for maybe about 3 weeks or so. It's a pretty good dog.
In the project together. That's one thing we want to do. We want to do it together. We don't want to. If we started up this project, then can you hear me?
Yep. Tui thought he'd been talking all this time.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, Tui, you've been faded out for the last 4 minutes. You've been gone.
Yeah, the last thing we heard was that people are awake.
Yes, Dan. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We hear you right now.
Yes.
Hello, Tui. Do you hear us?
Oh no. Not good.
Big delay.
Yeah, big delay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yes. Yeah. The people are awake more, and we're focusing on that because that's the most important part of the change that is happening on the planet right now.
Well, good. It seems like you're making some progress.
Yeah, and so that's what we are focusing on.
So when are we coming?
As many and more people are fully aware and are fully awake, and we think that my network is not good. Can you hear me then?
You have a big delay. He has a big delay, about a half a minute delay.
But if you just talk, well.
Rolly, okay. What about now?
You're good.
Let's try.
So you guys, maybe you guys can take it up so I can try and take up just talk about
Okay.
so I can fix this thing and give me time to fix it up.
All right. We'll continue.
Yep, we'll be here. So,
Is there any other news from Kim? I didn't really ask in the beginning, so.
no, not today. We've been, to be honest, we've had things going off all over the place. Some other people associated with the investigation into the the Clinton Foundation that were actively planning to be part of things in one way or another down in Arkansas have turned up dead, had accidents, motorcycle accidents. We had a young man who went missing this morning. Um, you know, so there's some, heavy stuff going on down there. If anybody out there in the agency who's actually, agencies, the government, the police, if any of you guys are actually good guys and not part of the child trafficking in Arkansas, please look out for our people down there. Go in and do something good because these people are getting picked off like flies, and there's a very real concern about their lives because, just in the past, 72 hours or so, we've had, quite a few of them drop and just be taken out. So the very rock solid. Oh, but I will say that there was a very effective dead man switch that Linda Collins had set up, and all of those documents and servers and data bytes have been delivered to the appropriate parties that are trustworthy at the various agencies and government organizations. And that's very exciting. So you guys, hey, please stand up to this, stand up for humanity and follow through and get this woman arrested. And the officer that in Queens, who was a chief here, all my reports, my guys are telling me that he had access to the Weiner laptop, the Anthony Weiner laptop. And because of that, he was getting ready to retire. And so he was starting to bring up the things that are on that laptop to expose Weiner.
Yeah.
And then you've had 4 suicides of different police officers from 2 in New York, 1 in Philadelphia, and 1 somewhere in Jersey, completing the network of what would be a pretty prominent prostitution ring that would, would be a pretty common pattern where they would just take people that are being basically sold to people to, to utilize, particularly in this case, kids that are being, taken by DCS, and they're basically being, allowed to make money off them. And so that network is very prominent. So that would make sense as to why those gentlemen would have, in this case, it was gentlemen, why they would be suddenly suicided. Like they say down in Arkansas, So you have 4 guys. It's just zero chance that's a coincidence that they all were suffering from severe depression and committed suicide. It just didn't happen. They were all killed. At least that's what my sources are saying. And
it would make sense since they're on a full frontal, assault against what they think is a threat to eliminate their threats. This should be the time that everyone is, picked up and taken into protective custody.
Well, the hard part is who do you trust, right? Because everybody, you have the Citadel, which is like a mercenary service here in New York, right? That is moonlighted by cops all the time. And so you have various members of the NYPD that go both ways and are corrupt. And then, if you're in that organization and you go to, let out some information, right? And then you let it out to the wrong person, now you get killed, right? So it's a tough cycle. I can appreciate how dangerous that is for them, and for others in the government as well, because like, who do you trust?
Right.
I mean, you have Nancy Schaefer. I mean, she was a prominent, senator. She was taking the fight to DCS, right? And her and her husband, in a get taken out at the same time. I mean,
Okay. Well, okay. So let's say Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson create a camp, and bring in all the veterans for security, and say, okay, everyone, come here.
Then you will have the most prominent site for nuclear bombing in history, because that's what they would do. That's exactly what they want. We actually, I have been growing this network of veterans, and we're up to about almost 300,000 veterans that we've been quietly networking together. And and I'll tell you what, I feel this way very strongly, because what I know is people that are regular people, right? Veterans who realize they have families, they have, people they love, they fought for a cause. They're the key to all of our freedom. They're the key, because they need to be really what I'm calling civilian active duty, right? Is it's these are guys that they understand purpose and mission and duty and honor, and it's important because we're lacking that. We're lacking that in the so-called leadership of government, right? I mean, and I that's not a slight on Trump at all, because I think Trump's doing an incredible job, in the midst of a den of vipers. But these other, there's so many people that are just compromised, right? You can't trust them. So unless they flip outright, unless they just flip, because I mean, if you listen to Rudy Giuliani the other day on Sean Hannity, he outed Joe Biden and what he did with his son. If you had that exact same story to tell about President Trump, I mean,
Right.
they would be hauling President Trump out, like they'd publicly hang him. I mean,
Right.
it would be a nightmare. Like, you never hear the end of it. Everyone would end up hating Trump if something like that happened. But meanwhile, Joe Biden goes and does it, and now they want him to be their presidential candidate. It's like this corrupt, obvious. I mean, he's guilty of espionage and treason and taking bribes. I mean, everything about it's so obviously corrupt. And Judicial Watch just outed that when they were doing the investigations on Trump, that Obama demanded to know, he wanted to know everything that was taking place on every, like, a president doesn't have that right, with an active investigation going on, to know every aspect of what's taking place, right? They don't have that right. They can't just get every single piece, because there's just things that are covert, like they're doing, like, so the overextension of that power of these different offices has been so common that it's ludicrous that they're even going after Trump for doing what he's doing, because he's not even close to that. And he keeps getting results. He keeps doing things that are making, the United States better, makes all of our lives better. You know, the one thing I still don't understand is why we don't just take over the banks, which
Right.
and that's, in, in my opinion, I don't know what it will take. What I'm very confident in is that I know there is, you know, uh, veterans who have told me they're ready to take action now. And literally, I've had to say, just wait, please. Let me try to get something together that's peaceful. But I mean, they're ready in this sense, veterans all over the country. I mean, in every state, in every place, who are capable, who
Right.
have weapons, who are ready to literally take out the corruption in the government. And if the veterans, if that starts, these guys will be so overmatched because there's nowhere near as many people in active duty as there are that are veterans. And the ones who are active duty, if they realized if this is happening, you know, there's going to be a segment that's been misled on some level, and they realize they've been misled, they're going to be on the side of the people, right? And those who have already flipped, you know, of course they're going to be on the side of the people, right? So who do they have, right? So you have Blackwater because they've decided they're going to serve the devil as long as the price is right. Well, Blackwater and everybody working for Blackwater, Eric Prince has zero money. He can't do anything. There's nothing there. There's no, all of your funds, all of the cabal funds are frozen. They can't do anything. You know, it's not going to happen.
Wow. That's just sorry, Tank. That's just similar to you. What we are veterans backing the tribes up and everyone up, and I'm just letting them know that just hold on. We want to do this together, and not to act upon and or maybe do another civil war or coup here in Fiji. That's the same thing that's happening there, because that's what happens when the people see the truth and the people are able to understand that they have the power. The physical energy that they express is the same physical energy that everyone around them express. So if they know they can change the probability of what the families and the nation can if they can change that in the physical way by force and all that, they were willing to do that. And so I'm just just like what you're doing, I'm holding them back and just enlightening them, talking to them that there are other ways to actually do this in a very just use intellect and wisdom and not to use force. And I know we might end up doing the same thing that was done in the past. And so now I know I tell them that as soon as everyone on the government are awake, they'll be able to do the same thing. And so that's really funny. That's the same thing.
Well, but Tui, I'll tell you, I feel very, I here, I've been working with some guys, and I got a couple of meetings tomorrow, and I'm about to launch, a campaign on this to really try to organize these efforts, right? Because we have to, there has to be a unified show of force, and I don't mean physical force, but just a unified stance that we are standing together as the people, right?
Indeed.
Because these are all people. I mean, the soldiers are all people. The government's people. These are all people, and even these really, these ones in positions of power or whatever, the illusion of power, because they have no money. If they're mercenaries and they're protectors, right, with these guns, realized you're never going to get paid, guys. They don't have the money to pay you, and the one in control of paying you is a force to be reckoned with, and she's never going to let it happen. And she's guarded by the most elite forces on the planet by far. So, the reality is, if we could just get the collective to see that and embrace it together, right? And I mean, from here to Fiji, right? Like, I mean, the worldwide, if we just get everyone to realize you're all people, every one of you is people, and there was a plan.
Space Command to Galactic Unicorn. Space Command to Galactic Unicorn. Can you hear us? Dank, you're offline. Can't hear you. Oh, well,
Can you hear me then?
I hear you. Yeah, but we lost Tank.
Okay. Yeah, I guess he's just. Oh, is he back?
No, he's
Oh,
back. He's probably the heel line will drop soon. Yeah, they've zapped his car, knocked him offline again.
yeah. The Yes, that's what he just explained there is what is changing around the planet. Everyone is realizing that we are all just people, and our the illusions that we have and the religious doctrines that we believe in, and the physical businesses or whatever gifts that we've created on our own are just all that. They are all gifts, and they represent the sovereignty of every individual that is creating them. And so, as soon as we realize that, we'll be able to have us, be on the same plane, and we'll be able to reconstruct the future and reevaluate each other, and respect and follow the rules of sovereignty, and be able to do that together. And so, I'm waiting for that time where all this, because it's all coming together, different levels of separation, and it's all coming together, and everyone is realizing it, that there's a change. It's very apparent here in Fiji that the money. I've been talking to the chiefs, and I've been telling them in for the past 9 months now, since the time when everything was going well and the money, the liquidity was good, and now and it's part of a big lesson that they're learning. Because at the beginning they didn't believe me. They didn't, they said, what are you talking about? I said, don't worry, the time will actually will come together with what I said, and this will make sense to you. So now that it's I'm happy that in a sense I'm very happy that the reality around them is helping them to wake up, and all this alignment is coming together, and so many people are awake, so many people are realizing, and now that they know the reason why this crisis is happening, not just in Fiji. We have now a week ago we have 50,000 teachers went on strike in New Zealand, and that's 50,000 teachers. That's a very big number. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
I forget how many is in New Zealand. It's like I think it's only a few million people in New Zealand.
yeah.
And then so 50,000. That's significant portion, even just of the whole country.
Yes, that's yeah, that's a sign that they don't have they don't the government is being restricted to try and control the amount of money that people are getting paid to, and they put in all these different laws and new rules to try and get them fill forms, and if they get criteria, and then if not, if they don't fulfill certain criteria, and their pay goes down, the wages goes down. And they in Fiji here, they have all this a month or 2 months contract, which is unrealistic, because as soon as someone doesn't perform, they don't get their jobs are not secure and all that, and that's why it's happening also in a different part of the government. And we have our one of our main hospital in the western side being privatized, and so that's it's like the government. It's part of. Sorry, you want to say something, then?
Yeah, I just say that also in New Zealand they had that fake banner event where they tried to then give a reason for people to turn in their guns, right? And so they passed a law saying everyone has to turn in their guns, and they only received 500 guns, right? And people said, we're not giving up the guns.
Yeah, that's true. We have this. I don't know if you've heard. There's a couple from the U.S. that died last week here in Fiji.
I really don't know the story, though. What is the story?
Oh, they came here for vacation, and then suddenly they have this. They went to hospital, and they died from a very unknown cause. They said there's a virus that has been planted or something to do with it. And it's still under investigation. And there's been a lot of stories going around the country. They're trying to quarantine the place to try and where they were first infected.
Yes.
And they said there were a couple of.
Yesterday, someone said it was Ebola.
Yeah, it looks like a flu, but the doctors that were doing the postmortem couldn't recognize what it was, and so it was a foreign. They said it's a foreign bug or foreign a virus that I think in a way it was trying. Someone wanted to introduce it in Fiji. There were some other people, I mean the local people in the hotels that were involved with them. That were about 6 or 7 that they went to the hospital quarantine, and then now they've been let go because there's no sign of it of them being infected, and so they're already back home.
Well, yesterday I said that if it was Ebola or something, it wouldn't survive in Fiji because the energy is too high.
Yeah, it wouldn't survive indeed. That's what I was. Go ahead, then.
I was just saying, too high of energy, too positive energy, too much fifth element, and too much going to happen in Fiji.
Indeed.
So how soon is it before I'm coming to Fiji?
As soon as this preparation is done, as soon as I reach the PM, as soon as we do it together, because I don't wanna. I told the chiefs that we have to do this together. I don't wanna do it. The organization that we have formed, the cooperative. We've been working as a cooperative. The name of the cooperative is Fijians Helping Fiji, and so that's what we are doing. We are Fijians just helping Fiji. As soon as we prepare and we do that and fulfill that name, everyone is coming to Fiji. So yeah, simultaneously there's so many synchronicity that's happening, and everyone is just fully understands that they're in line. This is what the planet wants. This is what the fifth element wants to do. And so I'm teaching everyone to be able to ride the wave and not to go against it, and just use the love to be able to, ride the wave of love that is happening on the planet. So if we go on our own and left some people behind, what love are you trying to teach the whole world or teach everyone when you can't even do it on your own, or you can't even practice it yourself? And this is the change that I know Kim understands this, and I know everyone on the projects understand this. And so to be able to reach that point where this love can be truly be fulfilled into its full potential, the lessons we learn along the way is gonna be, there's no judgment. There is no one that's gonna be not included into this lesson. So the chiefs are, he and everyone here in Fiji, especially the people in the know, the people in the group, we are happy that we are taking this journey and we're doing it together. And being part of the show, Dan, thank you so much, and thank. I know it's been a privilege. The people have been asking me why you're not been talking. I said we have, we have to work on the real thing that is what is around us here in Fiji, and that's the people. And after that, then once we can get prepared, we'll be able to talk more about the project and talk more about how everything is working together, not just in Fiji, but to the rest of the planet. And so they're happy. I told them that today I'll be talking, and I asked you to send me the link.
Well, my apologies for the
Go ahead
days
again. I didn't get you.
I said my apologies for the days I missed sending you the link.
No, my.
Sometimes we get and we get off patterns, right? But anyway, well, I'm trying to work it back in, and anyway, but you're welcome anytime. We just need to. You can always ring me. You can call, right? Because I might miss it. Just remind me. Call me on Telegram. I'll hear the ring. I say, "Oh, Tui wants to get on." Yeah, no problem. We get you on. So any time. But I'm anxious for things to get rolling and to come there and help move things forward. I've got some. We've been discussing the banking side. There's a particular bank in Fiji we looked at that would be good as a purchase to function from. I still want to. Did you get your grandfather's system all written out yet?
Oh yes, no, I couldn't do that completely.
Go on, Tui, get it done.
No, but this is funny because the AG has been talking about cryptocurrency, and so the first thought came to mind was you, and he said we have to go cashless. We're facing all these problems in our economy. I think the solution will be a cashless society or cashless country. If we can do that, I said, and I was thinking, yeah.
It is one of the solutions, but we have to make sure that it's used for the purposes of good and not for evil, right? And that's
indeed
the point, right? So it's not just turning on and say there's cryptocurrency, let's use it because they have no cash. Cashless society because you have no cash. That's not a good reason.
Yes.
let's get the asset given by the trustee to Fiji, and Fiji be able to draw upon that and make cash available.
Yeah.
Well, let's just change the system.
There's a lot of lessons that we're going to learn here. Very big lessons. Some much bigger than others. But I'm looking forward to the lessons that we'll be learning to actually try and come up with a society where ultimately that is truly free, where the exchange of good are just tools. I just want the love within everyone to be free, and that's the role of the Confederacy, which is to return the sovereignty, and that's what it means to be sovereign. And or whatever times that that meaning comes into place, we'll be learning a lot of things that we'll have to try and change, and then to progression on the way. But ultimately, that's what I want to do first. By the time they're using money, they understand that they're sovereign, and money is not controlling their life, but they are the one that's in control because they give it the value. This is a lesson that everyone here and everyone around the world that everyone will have to learn. And I'm thankful that I'm talking to you, Dan and Tank. Thank you so much for this opportunity today. It's really good to be back on the show. In the next few days I'll be talking again, and I'll be updating everyone. It's just we've been doing a lot of preparation. The military now understands that their role will be in this new project that we're working on is security, and so they will make sure that everyone that comes in Fiji will be well catered for, will be looked after. And there'll be conventions, there'll be music festivals, there'll be a lot of celebration of unity and reunity of family, of humanity that will be happening, and it will be a sample. And I want this to happen to every country in the world, where everyone else can come and celebrate, the return of sovereignty to every living things, not just human beings, but also all the plants and the animals, the fish in the sea, and everyone will be respected in the way and whatever role that they play in how different Vanua or the different land. So as soon as we are prepared, I'll be contacting Kim, I'll be contacting Tank, and we'll be having meetings because I want Kim to, to tell and talk and teach the leaders here in Fiji on what the role of the trust, on the new role of the trust is. Because right now they're still going on with their climate change, and and all the human rights.
Tell them the climate
But they're
change
missing.
means weather.
They're missing the most important point, which is the South. Yeah. Say that again.
I said, just tell them that climate change means weather.
Say that again, Dan. I
I
didn't
said,
get.
tell them that the climate change means weather. Like we have rain, we have good weather, bad weather. It's okay. It's just the weather.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey,
Yeah. Bad weather, good weather, rain.
yeah. I see someone asked a question. I'm going to answer it really quick. They said, why can't we submit our credit card accounts and mortgages and Kim pay them? Just a quick answer to that is, you can create a project, and the first item that you need to take care of in your project.
It changes.
You.
It's not a problem.
You take care of you. You need that money to pay off your credit cards and your mortgages, and just go ahead and put that in there. That's part of your project. Get that off of the burden off of you, so you can focus on your project, whatever that project is, even if you're the only project. But you have to submit it. You have to move through the process and do the things you need to do. Anyway, so that's the answer there. All right. Well, I guess is there anything else, Tui, or we can end it here?
I just want to say thank you very much, Dan. Thank you to everyone on the show. Thank you so much, on the live chat. Thank you very much, guys. Um, I'm glad to be back. Peace and love and blessings to every one of you, wherever you are in the world. I look forward to seeing you, in very soon. And thank you so much for being with us now. And thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tank. And much blessings and love from Fiji. Peace.
Indeed. All right. Bye. Goodbye, everyone. Make sure to subscribe, share. Be sure to share. Give positive thumbs up. And we will catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.